This is the TV Podcast with Chuck Thomas and Greg Scott.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the TV Podcast, the show they tried to ban until they realised nobody watched it anyway. As usual, I'm joined by the star of stage and screen. It's only Mr. Greg Scott. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. I have a question for you.
Yes?
Why do I make an effort every edition of the podcast to wear something different? You're in the same overalls again.
Because we filmed all of these episodes on one day. This was actually filmed 6 months ago.
That's right. That's like how they do the weather and the lottery draw as well. They do them all at once.
Yes, it's the future.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's also the past. Shall we crack on? Channel 5 has been criticised for changing its name again.
Again?
The channel will now be known simply as 5. Greg, is this a good idea or a bad idea?
I mean, wow, what a brilliant idea. That's going to make it's going to double the viewing figures for every show on the channel, clearly.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Vanessa's new show has not been doing well. I think it's getting about 80,000 viewers a day.
Yeah, but
maybe with the new name.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to get twice the amount.
Yeah.
Vanessa's new show, 80,000. Is that what it's doing?
Yeah, I mean, I know you're amazed it's getting that.
No, the thing is with Vanessa is that she's Vanessa.
Now, this is Channel 5's third rebrand since 1997. The channel has just turned 28 years old, which actually isn't that bad considering they beat Channel 4 most days now. Quite often they beat ITV. So Channel 5 has really surprised everybody in the business. It's done pretty well.
During the week, you used to have Can't Play, We'll Take It Away, and similar ilk shows. Yeah. And then at the weekend of all times, they'd have the history of Tudor things, and I thought, what audience are they actually going for?
Well, that actually was the genius of Ben Farrow, and I met Ben years ago.
Yes.
He's just one of these few people in television that really understands his audience. So he found out who his audience was,
and
he catered for them. Now, I think, obviously, that's an insane idea. And TV commissioners
doing that.
TV commissioners don't normally do that. But Ben was very much of that ilk.
Right.
One of those commissioners who understood his audience.
There?
He's still there.
He's still there.
Also, something that went really well with them is now they have a lot of the Paramount catalogue. So they have a lot of really good shows that come from MTV and Paramount Plus. So as a result, they're a very successful TV channel with a very smart man leading them.
Well, there's room for us there.
I mean, if Ben's watching the podcast after I've gushed about him, do you have any messages for him that you'd like to share?
Ben, I love you.
That's not awkward at all.
No.
Shall we talk about some of Channel 5's greatest shows, though? Because they have produced some of the best shows that the industry's ever seen. Obviously, there was Naked Jungle with Keith Chegwin.
Oh, with Chegwin with his little prawn.
Did you see Cheggers' penis?
I saw Cheggers' penis, and I saw Naked Jungle as well.
What did you think of Naked Jungle?
It was just, everyone was just watching it like this.
But you know, there was a funny story about that because that was a set that was being used, I think, in Yorkshire. It was a kid show called Jungle Run.
Yes.
And then what happened, I won't mention it, but a very smart guy who said, well, we can make easy money out of this. We can use the set on the last day, stick Cheggers in there with a bunch of naturists, and boom, Naked Jungle was born.
Why did Cheggers agree to that?
Why not? Well, you got to remember...
Cheggers...
I love Cheggers, but he did used to say yes to everything.
But if he was well endowed, which he proved he wasn't,
yes,
then maybe you could understand why he would say yes.
But maybe it was a cold day up in Yorkshire.
Must have been absolutely freezing.
Some of these studios, if you've ever been in David Letterman's studio, that was the coldest place I've ever been on Earth.
That's such a drop that was. That was a clang, that was. If you've ever been in David Letterman's studio.
But the Ed Sullivan Theatre is the coldest place on Earth.
Oh, I don't know. I was in an ITV commissioner's office this morning.
I happen to know that your meeting went very well, Greg.
It went very
lying.
well. I'm going to be taking over ITV very soon.
I mean, I heard a rumour you may be hosting the new series of Dancing on Ice.
That's true, yes, that's true.
Oh, what's that? Oh, I've just heard it's been axed.
That's the way it goes, isn't it?
Greg. That's show business.
I just want to go back to Naked Jungle a minute.
I bet you do.
Chegwin, was he the first choice of host?
Well, it's one of those shows where I was talking to Lizzie Cundy about Naked Attraction.
Clang, yeah.
Naked Attraction.
Were you talking to Lizzie Cundy at the Ed Sullivan Theatre in New York?
No, I wasn't. But Lizzie said to me that they wanted to make a celebrity version. This was a couple of years ago.
Right.
And she was the only person who said yes. Because nobody will do that show. So probably what happened is they asked everybody in the business and Cheggers was the only person who said yes. Slips don't want to show off the bits.
Yeah, but he did, and it was just, I felt so uncomfortable.
Okay, you're looking for your next TV break, your next big break on television.
Don't go there,
if they said to you,
sick.
£20,000, 1 day's work, would you do Naked Jungle?
Yes.
Series 2? You would?
Yes.
Well, there you go. That's why Checkers did it.
Not a series, just a one-off.
Okay. Yeah, there's limits.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to see it anyway because, well, let's put it this way, nothing grows in the shade.
Other shows that Channel 5 had huge success with, Touch the Truck with Dale Winson.
With Dale,
I
yes.
love Dale.
What a great idea that was.
You were very similar to Dale, and I mean that in a good way, because Dale, he spent years and years and years trying to get the perfect show.
And he did, so I'm nothing like him.
No, but I think he got Supermarket Sweep maybe at the age of 40. He was quite late on in his career, and it was somebody at Fremantle who just took a punt. And boy, did that pay off.
Yeah, Howard Huntridge.
Yeah.
Saw him, liked him, got him. Good old Howard.
Yes.
Howie, baby. We're like twins, me and Howard. We're getting very, very anal here and very, what?
You got anal with Howard Huntridge?
Let's leave it. Let's move on. Other Channel 5 shows.
Other Channel 5 shows. Obviously, Milkshake, when it was hosted by me.
You did Milkshake for a while,
What
didn't
a
you?
show. The problem with Milkshake is they thought with me, I think they thought I was Stephen Mulhern. It wasn't a marriage made in heaven.
Right. Yeah, I can see that, actually. You're not children's material.
Oh, I did 2 years of kids' TV. How dare you?
Yeah, but there was nothing else, was there? There was nothing else on offer apart from Naked Jungle, which you turned down and Checkers did it.
Let's talk about another show that did very well on Channel 5, Whittle,
with Tim Vine. Now, that started life as Everybody's Equal with Chris Tarrant.
Oh, no, who's been a millionaire? What was Everybody's Equal? Was that a Fremantle show?
It was Whittle. Yeah, it was the Whittle form. No, it wasn't. It was Celador who went on to make Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yes.
No, Whittle was great because Tim being very ad-libby and very with people. But little story about that. They had to have 100 contestants because of the format.
Yes.
So you'd whittle down from 100 to 1. And the winner got something like 250 quid, big money. And sometimes they'd have trouble. A coach wouldn't turn up or something. So there was a foreign language school next door. And they'd drag people in from this foreign language school to sit. They didn't have a clue because they were learning English as a new language. They didn't have a clue what was being said.
You've actually had a similar experience because you did a pilot in Paris, didn't you? An English language pilot.
I've done a few pilots in Paris.
And the audience couldn't speak English.
Yeah. I went down better than I've ever gone down. Trust me.
So do you think they got your humour? Your little jokes about Lisa Riley? And
I made sure that the English-speaking floor manager gave direct cues to the audience as to when to react and how to react.
Nice. It reminds me of
Picard saying mad.
It reminds me of the scene from Larry Sanders, which is always applesauce.
Applesauce.
Shall we talk about some other channels that changed their names?
Yes, please.
Dave changed its name last July. Dave is now called You and Dave.
This has to be one of the worst, not just branding decisions ever.
It's terrible. How do you market a channel called You and Dave? Also, before that, they were UK Gold Classics.
Yeah.
Before that, they were UK Gold 2.
Yeah.
Then UK G2. And then UK TV G2. That was their name.
Why don't they put as much effort into their schedules as they put into the name changing? Because the schedule is just wall to wall, Only Fools and Horses, and the same shows on a loop.
Yeah,
and it's crazy. What is the thinking behind changing the name of the channel? But you've got You and Gold, you've got You and Eden, you've got You and Yesterday, You and Drama, You and Alibis.
Who's your favourite actor?
My favourite actor.
Yeah.
Oh, Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor. That's a wonderful channel. I just set them up.
Yeah, I'll knock them dead.
ITV also flipped between ITV and ITV1. They've gone a few times because when we did Quizmania, we were always told to say ITV1.
Yes.
But now they're back to ITV, I believe.
That's amazing to think you and I used to be on ITV1.
You and I, that'll be their next channel.
Yes.
UK Gold has gone from UK TV Gold to GOLD for a while.
Yes.
GOLD.
Yeah.
Then it went back to Gold and now it's You and Gold. Mad, isn't it?
And
what's funny is
it doesn't even. Well, it trips off the tongue and falls flat on its face.
If you look at the ratings, every single time they've changed the name, the ratings have gone down. So I don't think the marketing works.
What is the thinking behind it?
I always thought Dave was a great way to rebrand a network. Everybody talked about Dave when it became Dave, but now You and Dave
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
The BBC has commissioned a new game show called Race Against the Tide, hosted by Love Island star Ian Sterling.
Race Against the Tide.
Do you know what it's about?
Yes, that's people running against a packet of washing powder.
That's actually a great idea, but it's not that.
No.
This is actually about 8 teams who are competing against each other to build sandcastles on a Scottish beach before the tide comes in. Come on, Greg, you're excited about this.
Yeah. Didn't they do, Channel 4 did a thing with Sue Perkins. I don't know if it was Mel Sue, but certainly Sue Perkins. They did The Greatest Snowman. But this sounds like that, but with sand, and they've got to do it. I mean, what if the tide comes in unexpectedly?
I think that's what they're hoping for.
Did you say celebrity contestants?
No, just regular contestants.
No way!
So we're talking about real people who have probably 1 million Instagram followers. Real people.
Real people.
Real people with tats and Botox.
Yeah.
Real people.
Is there a prize at the end of it? Do we know?
Well, probably a sandcastle. Maybe you get to hang out with Ian Sterling, the star of Love Island.
Yeah, and his lovely wife, Laura. That sounds a really great idea. What channel is this going to be on?
This is the BBC. Have you heard of them?
Yes, I've heard of them.
Now, I've got a quote here.
To them.
A BBC spokesman said, whether you live near the beach or simply take the kids to a sandpit at the local park, this series is sure to inspire you.
Inspire
you. So I think they're looking at baking. There's baking, there's sewing. Sandcastles. It's the obvious next development of that.
It's wonderful. It's marvellous. And we've got Ian Sterling in vision, have we, on this one, or is it just voiceover?
I believe so, yes. Now, I know you're looking for your next...
for Ian.
You're looking for your next TV break, and I know that you live near the beach in Scarborough.
I do, Scarborough, yeah.
So I was thinking, why don't you get involved with this show?
Could get involved. I could get on it first and just put it out on YouTube.
Do your own version.
Yeah.
What would you call it? Greg Scott's Sandcastles of Love or something like that?
I'd call it...
Building Castles in the Sky.
No, you put me on the spot now. I don't bloody know.
He's not good at improv. He's only done hours of live TV.
Yeah.
Apple TV has announced it is losing more than $1 billion a year.
How much?
$1 billion.
Good Lord.
$1 billion.
Why?
The tech giant spends around $5 billion a year on content. Now, Apple TV, this is the weird thing, is actually amazing.
Yeah.
Apple TV produced some of the greatest shows.
Ted Lasso.
Severance. There's an amazing new show called The Studio, which is basically the next Larry Sanders.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's our favourite show ever, but this is up there with Larry Sanders.
Okay.
It's really good. Seth Rogen's in it. They've got The Morning Show. So they make some of the greatest shows, but the saddest thing is they don't have the biggest audiences, and they actually lose $1 billion per year. And I think this is the problem with the BBC now and ITV, because you've got huge streamers that can afford to lose money. They can lose that kind of money because they will be making... Apple made $400 billion in revenue last year.
Drop in the ocean.
So it's nothing for them. So if you've got an amazing idea now, you're taking that to Netflix or Apple. You're not taking it to the BBC. So traditional TV, it just can't ever survive, can it? It can't compete with these people.
Why do they do it? How are they ever going to make money with it? So why would they keep it going? I know that in the grand scheme of things, $1 billion isn't much to Apple.
I think it's vanity. Really? It's winning awards. It's saying that we may never make money from this, but we can disrupt the market and we can be the best at it, even if we don't make money from it.
That's extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's an extraordinary way to do business.
I think Netflix turned a profit for the first time ever last year. For the first time ever.
Just imagine having, the Apple thing, just imagine having that much disposable income. It's just $1 billion. Imagine.
Yeah.
It's bonkers.
Shall we talk about ITV's big new show?
Yes.
It's called Win-Win. And it's hosted by Mel Sue. In the show, viewers at home will get the chance to win exactly the same prizes as the contestants in the studio. ITV say it's the most interactive quiz show since Quizmania.
They didn't actually say that, did they?
No, they were like, what is Quizmania?
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, I don't really have an opinion on this show, but I know that you're very upset about it. You were ranting about it earlier this week. So what have you got against Win-Win?
Mel Sue, I like Mel Sue. I don't think they're right for this. I think you need someone who can really command the arena, the
somebody
format.
Like Stephen Mulhern?
Behave yourself. But I just think they're maybe too lightweight. I don't know.
Well, I mean, this is often the mistakes they made because you need a host for a big arena type show.
And that's got to be the key word there, host, rather than presenter.
This is
two different entities.
Americans are very good at knowing this. So if you look at what they did with Family Feud, they got Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey is a host. You could have the worst...
He was great in Cockney Rebel. One for the kids there. Yeah.
Come up and see me and make me smile. Steve Harvey, you could have the worst contestants. He will deliver a hit for you every single time. Michael Barrymore is exactly the same. You were very similar back in the day, in your heyday. And I think there's a big new show on ITV called 99 to Beat. That's a big arena show as well. But again, they've got presenters. They haven't got hosts.
Yeah.
Holly Willoughby, great presenter, but probably not a big arena type host. Who today would fit that mold?
Talking about it with my ITV exec friend earlier on, and what I call the training grounds aren't there anymore. We're talking about
Kids TV was the training ground.
Kids TV, because everyone who's, well, not everyone obviously, but a lot of people who are in the main jobs now in prime time cut their teeth on children's TV.
Chris Tarrant obviously did. Lenny Henry, Philip Schofield, although probably less said about him the better. Stephen Mulhern, they all did. I mean, I started in kids' TV. A lot of the people I started out with ended up on prime time.
Yeah.
Bastards is all I can say.
There's not room for everybody,
no, they're all
sadly.
lovely people. You know that. TV is full of lovely people. But there's no training ground anymore.
It begs the question, do you take a chance on someone new? Do you audition people? Do you look at the demos that are sent in? I know I would if I was an exec, because you never know who you might find.
Well, you find the biggest stars today actually on social media. And it's funny, whenever I meet young people who are very entertaining, they have great ideas, they don't care about television. Like, I will say to them, oh, you should send that to Channel 4. Oh, it doesn't matter. They would rather do it themselves, get on YouTube and find a sponsor. Or a podcast like this.
Because they're making money that can control the content.
And in their mind, they could get millions on YouTube in terms of eyeballs. On Channel 4, they'll get 100,000. It's not even on their radar. They don't care. There's no kudos.
No.
If you or I, or you and I, sounds like a TV channel. You and Dave. If you and I walk into the BBC or Channel 4, there's kind of, oh, wow, we're in an amazing building here. They don't feel like that. No. They'd rather pop into Facebook or Google.
Yeah.
That's what turns them on.
What's that other one? TikTok.
Friends Reunited.
Friends Reunited.
And MySpace. They're the two big ones.
Bebo.
Dermot O'Leary is launching a brand new game show called Silence is Golden. It's going to be on the TV channel You and Dave. Which used to be called Dave, and before that was called UK GT2. Now, this has got hit written all over it, hasn't it?
It's got
hit
written all over it.
Yeah. Well, do you want to know what it's about?
Yeah, give us a bit of the format,
So each episode begins with the studio audience winning $250,000 to share between them.
How many in the audience?
I think there's 100. So it's a bit like Whittle.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And all they need to do to keep it is to remain silent. So already I quite like this idea.
Dermot's hosting.
Yes. So then Catherine Ryan and a bunch of comedians will do everything they can to make members of the audience.
I love the way you said Catherine Ryan and some comedians.
Yeah, see, you're being catty again.
I'm not.
He's being catty again.
You said it.
The audience enjoy it. Keep it up.
Yeah,
they enjoy it. Yeah. Now, Dermot said, when a show like this falls into your lap, you can't quite believe your luck. So do you think he's going to bring the same energy and enthusiasm to the show that he did on The Nightly Show, The Pet Show, The Getaway Car, The Marriage Ref, all the big ITV hits? Do you think the same enthusiasm will be there?
Why do you do this to me? Why? You lead me down these dark alleys.
Just saying he's had a lot of big ITV shows.
I just maybe if it had come out before Last One Laughing, it might have been. But, I wonder if they're going to tweak it to make it that much different.
If it's similar to a hit show, they don't care if it's going to be the same kind of show, right?
Yeah,
they just
it's like
another hit.
It's like
every singing talent show.
Yeah, there's going to be so many traitors type feeling shows at the moment. Because there's one launched on Netflix. Was it $1 Million Secret with Pete Serafinowicz?
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, I love him. One of his sketch show that he did was absolutely magnificent.
Yes,
didn't get the viewers sadly, but it's funny
and
because
you're very
on YouTube,
Similar to Brian
I was
Butterfield.
talking on YouTube.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, well,
I've had a coffee.
Well, yeah, haven't you just? We can I get a coffee? We were talking, weren't we, about Peter, about his sketch show, but about I'm fucking gone now.
See, this is why I have
Where
to
can we
interrupt
pick
you.
that up?
We can't. That's in there. Shall we move on?
No, can I add something to say?
You were saying that Peter was wonderful in his sketch show back in the day on BBC Two.
Now the most
And it was a shame they don't make it
I
anymore.
was picked it up then. Stop
Come on.
laughing.
We're running out of time.
Because you see, the most remarkable thing about that is that the Peter Serafinovich show is all over YouTube now.
Yeah.
It's getting amazing figures on there, and people are saying, this is fantastic, this is magnificent.
Yeah.
Too late now, that ship sailed.
It's similar to Look Around You. Remember the show
Look
how
Around
Ross
You.
Lee used to do?
Glorious.
Back in the day, I think that was on BBC Two at like at 10 to 10.
Yeah.
Didn't really do anything. Now it's on YouTube. It gets the big numbers.
Glorious.
Years
Absolutely.
ahead of its time. Big Train. Another example. Big Train. What a phenomenal sketch show. Created some of the biggest stars in the world today. People like Simon Pegg and stuff. Didn't really do anything at the time. People find it on YouTube. But they don't really make sketch shows anymore. And we should talk about this topic with our next guest. Because he is one of the biggest comedy producers around.
Who the heck's that?
We have to stay tuned to find out. It's not Stephen Mulhern. Channel 4 has commissioned a new show called The Bad Dog Academy. In the show, Mr. Entertainment Nick Grimshaw will help owners build long-lasting positive relationships with their furry friends. So it's a bit like Jerry Springer. You're not getting on with your dog. You go on this show. It's a bit like, marriage counselling
Hang on a
with
minute.
your pet.
Hang on a minute. Channel 4 did a show because they did The Doghouse first, which was a big success, and that's been transferred to other countries around the world. Then they did The Dog Academy.
Yes. Well, this is the next one. So the last show didn't have a host. And
No.
they've looked at the ratings and they said, this show's bombed. You know what we need, everyone. Nick Grimshaw. So Nick Grimshaw's coming in to save the show. In the show, Nick provides therapy to 6 chihuahuas who are striking terror in the heart of their neighborhood.
There's a serious point here. If 6 chihuahuas are terrorizing a neighborhood, something needs doing.
Yes. And only Nick can solve this.
Only Grimmy can solve it. Yeah, a weird choice of host. I don't know what his association with dogs is.
Perhaps he owns one.
Yeah, I own a dog. Why wasn't I asked?
Well, why don't you get involved with the show? You could pretend that you and your dog aren't getting on.
We don't.
Then get on this show.
Well, I say we don't get on. Me and Moo.
Yeah.
Hi, Moo, if you're watching.
Is Moo a fan of the TV podcast?
Loves it. Yeah, Moo looks at me like I'm cack.
Yeah.
I spoil her.
Much like the current Mrs. Scott.
Very much. But honestly, you would think I mistreated her. You would think to look at her that I beat her, that I
Are we
mistreat
talking about Mrs.
her.
Scott?
No, we're talking about Moo.
Okay.
I honestly, maybe Grimmy can help me with Moo.
Could me help you with Mrs. Scott?
No one can help me with Mrs. Scott. No.
Gwyneth Paltrow has criticised intimacy coordinators on TV shows. Do you know what one of those is?
Yeah, don't they say, that goes in there? No, not in there.
Yes.
Is that what they do?
That's an intimacy coordinator.
Right.
They came around during the time of Me Too. Do you remember the Me Too movement?
I do, yes.
You didn't work for about a year after that. Now, intimacy coordinators, they're hired to facilitate communication between actors and directors during sex scenes. And
I love the way you said that. During sex scene.
Yeah. Now, Gwyneth says acting is easy. You just get naked, you jump in bed, and you turn the cameras on, much like the podcast we do here. So do you think we should get rid of them? Are they ruining the fun?
I think so. I mean, there's nothing natural about being told, it's like the okey-cokey, isn't it? You're putting it in, put it out. There shouldn't be set times and say, let it come, for want of a better word, let it happen naturally. Let it, they can talk. The actors involved can talk about boundaries and stuff, Now, you can do that. You can fiddle with me flange, but you can't ooh-jar me what's it. And they can sort it out.
Is that a technical term?
Yes, it is. Google it.
Flange.
Fiddle with me, flange.
Now, Gwyneth says that they make the artist feel very stifled.
Yeah, that's what I'm on about.
Now, you're an artist. What makes you feel stifled when you're in the studio and you're trying to get your creative juices flowing? What makes you feel stifled?
I'm putting myself in the position, well, there's many positions you can get into, but I'm putting myself in the position of someone doing a sex scene, and I would like it to happen naturally.
Have you ever done a sex scene? Because you've been in the business a long time.
I've done a few solo ones, yeah.
Right now, we're joined on the show by a BAFTA-winning comedy producer. He's the man behind The In-Betweeners, Harry Hill's TV Burp, Bo Selector, and even Fantasy Football League. It's only Spencer Millman.
Spencer Millman!
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
I wasn't the man behind the In-Betweeners, by the way.
You are now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take that.
I thought you were.
I did the very original pilots.
Well, there you
He's
are
the man
then.
behind The In-Betweeners.
I started it and I finished it.
Don't be
I did
modest.
the first
Were
pilot
you
and then I did
fired
the film.
from The In-Betweeners?
No, I was doing TV Burp. I think I probably was fired.
And
though.
how many series of TV Burp did you do?
I don't know the series. What I do know is I did 99 shows.
Wow.
Never
Wow.
made the 100. I think I'm right in saying we got about 8.2 million viewers
Amazing.
for TV Burp.
Were you left alone?
Yes.
Because the funny thing about TV Burp is it doesn't look like it should have existed on ITV.
When I joined, there were I basically made two changes to the show, which was in the previous series, there used to be long, like 2-3 minute sketches.
Yes, yeah.
And I said to Harry, I would much rather, because we filmed the sketches on the morning of the studio record, I said I would much rather we film 3 or 4 30-second sketches rather than one long one. He was like, why? And I'm like, because if you do a 2-3 minute sketch and people don't like it, it's the opportune moment for people to turn over.
Yeah.
If you do 3 or 4 and they're bang 30 seconds, 10 seconds here, they're on and gone before anybody has a chance to go to control.
So you look on that as an improvement.
Yeah.
So if I extrapolated that same thought process to lovemaking with my wife,
The co and Mrs. Scott.
I think she would probably prefer it.
yeah.
Have you met Mrs. Scott?
I've seen photos.
My favourite thing about TV Burp was when you were at Teddington and you used to do all those sketches outside Teddington because it was the Benny Hill stuff.
Yeah.
Was that, I would imagine that he was a fan of Benny
There was a
Hill.
big field out front,
Yeah,
wasn't
there
there?
was.
as
I
well?
loved
Yeah.
it. I loved all that.
Yeah, it was, I'm so privileged and proud to have done it.
Yeah.
It was 5 years of my life, basically, and it was insanely hard work.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
But I genuinely can't remember a bad day at going to work.
You could do Christmas specials every year. It'd be wonderful looking like
Well,
a Charlie Booker
did,
type
we
thing.
did a few specials. We did do a few specials. If I'm being totally honest, it was enough.
Yeah.
It was enough. I think, and listen, I'm not complaining because I was part of the decision processes as well. But I think if the series had been, you've got a series of 10 and then you got a big break and then you got another series of 10 6 months later, I think we would have carried on and we would have carried on. The issue is that it got so popular and rightly so, the channel were like, we want more, we want more, we want more.
Mm-hmm.
So you just end up in it is a relentless, we were doing, there were a block of 16, 2 weeks off, another block of 16.
Wow.
Crazy.
Did
And
they ever think about bringing it back with another host?
I think there were talks,
Yeah.
I think.
It's so impossible to find another Harry, though.
It's unimaginable.
He's so
It's-
unique, isn't he?
I mean, they did try it. They did I can't remember if it was Australia or New Zealand. They did do a version there, but Harry is a
It's Harry.
genius. The schedule was crazy, and there's only so many episodes of Freaky Eaters and so many jokes you can get out The Apprentice, and that was a thing in the end. But every Saturday night at 6 o'clock on the dot, I would get the script without fail, and then I'd do all my notes and give them back to him. And then every Sunday morning, I would have the new draft, which is the one that we would work to first thing Monday morning. And it was
Dream
a
job.
lot of work.
Yeah.
For,
You know,
for
you-
him.
Earlier on, you said about, changing the 2 minute sketch to 4
Yes.
30-second sketches and everything. Maybe it's because I'm one of the biggest cowards in the world, but do you not feel, I know you're the producer, but do you not feel afraid to say to the talent, I'd like to make this change?
No, I mean, that's my job.
Yeah.
I mean, that is my job, and hopefully one of the reasons why I've been doing it for 26, 27 years.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing that I said to him, So all the clips, when you do the record, all the clips you load into an EVS machine, right? So there's somebody in a gallery and then they get queued and they press a button and the clip goes out. And all of those are loaded in before.
That used to really impress me because I went to a couple of recordings and it used to impress me how he'd do the lead in and the clip would be straight there.
That's Nigel.
Yeah.
That was lovely Nigel. Amazing. But originally, before I came on, he was limited to how many clips were to be in the script. And I said to him, oh no, you can have as many clips as you want when we do the record. Like, so don't worry about going, oh, I can't put that in because I'm only allowed 100 clips. So you put in whatever you want to put in. And what that did for us is that we would sometimes go into a record and we'd record it live. If you've been to the show, it was basically recorded live, apart from like the messy pre-records and stuff. But we would go into a half-hour show with 150 clips.
Yeah.
And in the main show, it would go down to about 35 once the editing happened. But what was really, really useful for us is that things like, let's say, Freak Eaters or The Apprentice, whatever program we were doing, there would be some weeks where there would only be like 3 clips from that show, but we knew that program was going on for another 6-7 weeks. So what tended to happen was we would play that in, and if it got massive laughs, we would go, we don't need to put that in because we've got so much material.
Yeah.
That show's going to be around for another 7 weeks. So actually,
running gags.
Let's just keep watching that show and build it up so that we can have a real big section with callbacks and everything like that. And actually, whilst it was more work in terms of, I mean, I hate to think how many tapes we used to send out to the writers, but what it did do, there were literally some weeks where whole sections were already written because we'd done the homework in the previous weeks.
When there was a song at the end of the show,
yes,
it always ended da 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 da.
Yes.
Why? What was that all about?
That was a Steve Brown.
Oh, Steve!
That
what
was
a genius.
Steve Brown signature thing. Also, it was just an easy way to get out. It was like, you don't have to fade down the music. Every song had a whole thing.
Yeah.
Now we've only got 5 minutes.
Is that it?
Yeah, and I want to get through everything.
How's that gone so quick?
Because
I need to
back
ask
to my love
something,
life.
though.
I'm obsessed with TV Burp.
I do need to ask something really important.
Yes. We're not a couple.
And we're
not.
No.
Do not have an intimate coordinator.
You may not know the answer to
He's
this.
not my dad.
You were talking about Quizmania earlier.
Yes.
Which I loved, right? Growing up. Absolutely loved.
No refunds. No refunds.
There were 2 things that I need to know. Number 1 is, was it set up? Because as a kid watching it, I was like going,
you were a kid. When Quizmania was
like
on.
20 years ago.
Yes.
How
are you?
Oh, no, I wasn't a kid.
He's only 27 now.
I definitely called in and never got on. And I was like, oh,
well,
that's
that's
just
my fault. You should have tried harder.
Now, the other question that I need to know, because this has been bugging me for about 3 days, you posted a clip on your socials the other day from Quizmania, and the question was food beginning with the letter P. And the clip had pheasant, which was 5,000.
5,000.
Yeah, sounds about right.
What was the £10,000?
Potato.
No, it wasn't. It definitely
I'll
wasn't.
give you 3 guesses now. And if you come up with it, I will give you the
£10,000.
Yeah.
Parsnip.
No.
Pumpkin.
You got one more guess?
This is why people love the show.
£10,000, genuinely.
Plantain.
Oh, that's the kind of thing we would have gone with.
No.
What is it?
It was paw.
That's what I just said. Pow pow.
Paw.
Well, I call it pow pow.
Well, you would. You've been to America.
It's paw.
Oh, I call it pow pow though. All right, we've got 1 minute. What was the other thing you wanted to chat about?
What was the other thing?
Hand?
You've
got a very hairy hand. You can't
I'm Richard Keys.
You've got Richard. He's a gorilla.
He's a hairy man.
Richard Keys. I think we talked. No, the only other one you were talking about. I hadn't heard about this Race the Tide program.
Oh, Race Against
the
Tide.
Sandcastle thing.
And I was in the gallery and I was like, I can't work out whether you're joking.
No,
whether
that's
this is
a real show.
Thing or not.
Yeah. The BBC have commissioned it and it's hosted by Ian Sterling.
Yeah, Ian's
You've
very
got to build a
nice.
sandcastle before the tide comes in.
Why?
Why? Well, you could say that. I've no idea.
I just don't understand what goes
This
on.
is why TV Burp needs to come back. Imagine what Harry would say about that show.
But I don't understand what goes on in a commissioner's head when they're presented with this idea and
Because
they go, yes, this is going to be the new big show.
Well, I hope I'm wrong. I hope it comes out and it's brilliant and
Well, for
very...
Ian's sake, probably. Yeah.
No, but, well,
Well.
I'm genuinely intrigued to see it. You were talking about the Greatest Snowman.
Mm.
I actually really enjoyed The Greatest Snowman.
I don't think I ever saw The Greatest Snowman.
Yeah, I think they only did it once. Joe Thomas was in it.
Right.
from
From
In
the
Between Us.
Between Us, yeah.
The
Yes.
show that you produced but you didn't produce.
I did the first one,
Yeah.
the pilot, and I did,
Did
the
you
movie.
Did
the
you
second
leave
movie.
after the pilot because you were like, oh, this will never be a hit?
No, I left after the pilot because I think they got somebody else in, and also I was busy.
Were you slightly annoyed when the show aired and it became the biggest thing ever for about a year? Because I would be.
No.
I'd be a little bit annoyed.
No, because I was doing TV Burp.
Which was actually
Yeah.
the best thing at the time.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was.
Oh,
fine.
Greg, I'm sorry, we're out of time.
Oh, we're out of time. We're out of time.
It's like when you come to
Who says
therapy.
there's a time? Why is there
There's
time?
another show coming in.
We've booked the
And
studio.
the thing about this studio
Fuck 'em.
is they have very.
Who is it?
Do you know Ted
Who is
Danson
it?
and Woody Harrelson was sitting in
who's
here?
coming in next?
It'll be somebody very famous.
Yeah, someone.
How do you
we're
not know who's
worthy.
coming in?
Well, because you'll just get surprised.
No, but how do you
It's
not
probably
know
Rob
who's coming in?
Brydon.
Oh, okay.
Because he does his show here.
Yeah.
Or it could be, who's that guy who copied us? What was his name?
Richard Osman bloke.
It could be him.
Yeah.
Very tall man. So we must say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us, Spencer Millman.
Spencer
Thank you for-
Millman
thank you for
there.
having me.
No,
A
Spencer,
real
thank you.
TV person on the show for once, and we'll be back next month.
That was the TV podcast with Chuck Thomas and Greg Scott.